I'd like to welcome you to October 16th board meeting, regular board meeting. And if you would join me, I'd like to say the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you very much. David, if you would call it up. Mr. Kennedy, here. Mr. Ross. Mr. Skinner. Here. Ms. Parker. Mr. Lisa. Here. Thank you. First thing we'd like to do is to have the approval of the minutes. I move we approve the minutes for the September 18th and October 2nd meetings. Any discussion on that? Mr. Skinner? Aye. Ms. Marcus? Mr. Kennedy? Aye. Mr. Ross? Aye. Mr. Lisa? Aye. Thank you. Tonight we'll have a number of things on the consent agenda, not a whole lot. Is there any adjustments, modifications to the agenda tonight? Very well. I have a motion to approve the consent agenda. I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as it is. Second. Any other discussion? Mr. Kennedy? Aye. Mr. Ross? Aye. Mr. Skinner? Aye. Ms. Parker? Mr. Lisa? Aye. Thank you. For some superintendent's communications. This month's presentation is about high school, and I'd like to invite Principal Jeff Harrison up, and lastly, we've got the Huddle Shuttle with him as well. Outstanding. Thanks so much for having us this evening. And this is a great moment. I'd love to share our students with the public and the great things that they do day in and day out. We have many great programs that operate out of high school, and it's moments like this that they get the recognition they deserve. And there's many people in town who have elementary-age children or have been in town a while and have probably heard about Huddle Shuttle, but really doesn't know what Huddle Shuttle is. So that's what we're going to take this time tonight. We have some students here that are members of the Huddle Shuttle program, and they'll present and kind of give you an idea about the program. And I also asked them to share with them what Huddle Shuttle has done for them. We talk about all the good things they do for elementary students, but also that experience also impacts our high school students. But before I introduce the students or have them come down, I would like to give a thank you to both Kathy Lasher and Trish Jackson. They're kind of the advisors for Huddle Shuttle, and it wouldn't run as smoothly as it does throughout our district if it wasn't for the hard work that those women put in. So with that, without further ado, I'll have the students come forward.
Hi, I'm Molly Praxis, and we are 11th and 12th grade students, except for all this year are actually seniors, and we are from Huddle Shuttle, and Huddle Shuttle actually stands for, the S stands for STEM, and it's helping us develop dedication, leadership, and enthusiasm. So we go into the 4th and 5th grade classrooms, and we educate them. And how the leaders are chosen is there are about 150 of us, and we apply, and then from there on, we have an interview, there's a group interview, and then that is when the 150 are chosen. But the big thing that affects us all in the main circumstance with the 150 leaders is that we all are driving alcohol free. Because we're not going to educate the kids if we don't believe in what we're telling them. And there are a variety of kids, no matter what sport they're in, band, football, no matter what gender, everybody's accepted. And we have a training day where all of the leaders come together and we are aware of how to hear, what to expect, and so forth. And when we go into the classrooms, we like to start off with an icebreaker. Show me a little game or get to know you. My personal favorite is called the pat on the back. And what we do is we give the students a little sign and we put it on their back. And we have their classmates go around and they write little nice things about them to build up their confidence and realize some stuff about themselves that they didn't already know. And we do a lesson. And huddle lessons are about how to be a fit kid, how to be happy, how to be positive. And we touch base on the drugs and alcohol. We do a lesson on prescription drugs, but we don't really get into the more deep stuff because we're not quite ready for it yet. And Shadow, we talk about social media, tobacco, and peer pressure. And we also like to set, I'm not going to call them rules, but we want to have some boundaries for the kids. Just because we're not their teacher doesn't mean they can get away with whatever. They still like to respect us, and we want to earn their respect. And not only is it a discipline for them, but Shadow really helps us learn a sense of deadlines and what we can and cannot do almost, because kids are going to tell you what they're thinking. I mean, if you mess up, they're on you. And this really gets them out of their comfort zone. We have a little question box at the end where they can ask us anything they want. We prefer it to be related to the topics, but it's we have it slide under the radar. And so this gives us an idea of what they already know and what they don't, and it gets them out of their comfort zone on topics that they don't want to go home and talk to their parents about, that they feel comfortable talking to us about them. And it gets us out of our comfort zones as well. Alright, hi. I'm Lily Benson. I'm a senior at the high school, and the huddle struggle has affected me personally because as a kid in 4th and 5th grade, I remember running huddle struggle, and they gave me something to look forward every month, not only because they gave us candy, even though that was a good part of it. It taught me how to be a good kid, how to make the right decisions, and how to be a good kid and how to make the right decisions. It's beneficial for the kids because it's coming from a younger perspective and they look up to us and stuff, and hopefully when they're in high school they volunteer for because it's good feeling being looked up to. Hi, I'm JC Fox. I'm also a senior, and this is my second year in Huddle. One thing that Huddle has especially taught me is that I'm a confident person. Going into my first lesson last year, I wasn't really sure, oh my gosh, I'm going in front of 34th graders. They're all going to think I'm really weird. I'm that weird high school kid who's going to go talk to them about the class. But then once I was in there, seeing all the smiles on their faces, seeing them engaging in the classroom, activities that we had planned, seeing that my lesson that me and my partners had worked on was affecting their daily lives, but the most rewarding part for me was seeing them outside of the classroom, them coming up to me saying, JC, when are you going to come back? We are really looking forward to our huddle lesson this month. When are you going to come back next? And anytime we'd say, next 2 weeks, they'd be like, come on, we need you to do sooner. And so that's what huddle really taught me is that I'm a very confident person, and being able to prepare a lesson, being able to teach a lesson to a bunch of kids, because as Lana had said earlier, kids will tell you when you are wrong. So having that confidence and being able to show that I have that confidence is something that Huddle has really taught me throughout these past 2 years.
Hi, I'm Greg Eckridge. I'm a senior on the night. One thing that Huddle makes me feel great about is every single time you walk in there, you can't not smile. It's just, to me, that's amazing. When we leave, you don't want to leave. You may have to say how your mom and all that. But one thing that I think it does for the community is they say an average person will meet about 10,000 people in their lives. If I go over and I talk to 30 kids, that's 30 kids. And they go talk to them, and then it just trickles down, and everyone will learn about it. They'll learn healthy choices, good lifestyle, and all that kind of stuff. So that's what I enjoy about Huddle.
Hi everybody, my name is Joey Delkel, and Huddle has affected everyone who has been in contact with it. And for the kids, kids especially, knowledge is power. It's a cheesy line, but it really is true. They have very limited life experience as fourth graders, and for people like us to be able to come up to them and educate them on everything that we're doing, it really means a lot to them, and it means a lot to myself too. Huddle also helps me with my social skills. When I was younger, I wasn't the most social person, and it's really helped me come out of my shell. I've had to work with people. I actually am in a team with JC over here, and we go to St. Francis every day, and we work on team building exercises, and we have a good time doing it. It teaches responsibility, and if you look at the name Huddle itself, helping us develop dedication, leadership, and enthusiasm, it helps us do all of those things. We have to be dedicated. We have to make sure that we're not doing any of those bad things that we're saying that we have to do, that they can't do, because that's hypocritical, and we can't preach to the choir and not do it ourselves. For leadership, they have to look to us as leaders. If they don't, then it's not going to be as effective. And I feel like leading them in these exercises, we do that in a very good way. And enthusiasm. You can go into a classroom and you can say something like, marijuana is bad. And you can be totally enthused about it and get the point across. But with kids, it's totally different. You have to be exciting. You have to gain their attention and really draw them in. And Huddle is really, really good at that. And I love this club more than anything. And that is the reason why, because it really affects everyone who's a part of it. Thank you.
My personal reason is not only am I very passionate about being drug and alcohol free, I want to be a teacher. So this really helps me get out of my shell and know what works effectively and what does not in class I'm with 34th graders. Does anybody have any questions?
What time of the day do you guys get to interact with the kids? Is it always on the same time kind of thing?
Yes, it's once a month from precisely about 45 minutes till the end of the day, so it's right at the very end. It's a pleasure.
So as you introduced yourself, I recognize your names from many other leadership roles that you're a part of, sports and choir and band and other leadership things that you're part of. And so I think you're living it out, not only in, as you were saying, picture the choir, I think you're living it out by being leaders here at the high school. And it's great to see you getting to do that. And it would be neat. I think you were talking to Doug maybe about looking in on him sometime. If we could visit and watch him in action, that would be wonderful. Don't know if that's cool or not, but that'd be awesome. All right. Thank you very much for coming. I'd like to thank our high school students for joining us this evening and taking time out of their own very busy schedules. As Tom said, we students are involved in lots of activities. So for them to come here and meet with us and share what they're doing really shows you the passion for what they do and the importance of what they do with our younger students in the district as well. So treasurer of communications. On the agenda, it looks like it's backwards. They're putting the financials after the 5-year forecast. I'd like to reverse them. Financials first and always. The district bank balance decreased by $3.5 million down to $84 million in September. The general fund revenues were above last year by $184,000, and this is due to our revenue sources. Besides other funding, which made this increase possible. The general fund expenditures were below last September by $1.1 million. 7 payrolls last year compared to 6 this year. Purchase services, supplies, capital are reasons for this decrease. The sales tax fund balance is $3.1 million. The district spent roughly $87,000 in September. If you notice, I believe it was the post that showed that we're going to be getting our sales tax sometime here in October. I believe it was $815,000 or so. So that'll be good for the district. District received $73,449 in investment income for September, and that's $244,000 for the fiscal year. This is approximately $1,000 higher than the combined totals of 2013 through 2015.
If you remember, we were not investing at all. In 2013, we started our investment program after I got here in 2014. And so the investment program is working. We're still continuing to invest to this day with multi-bank services. I believe we're up to roughly $6.5 million with multi-bank. We also have investments with Fifth Third and Red Tree Investment Corporation. So we're trying to invest the money so that the district gets a return on the investments and helps offset any expenditures that we have coming. District currently has 281 days in 2 days cash. And if you recall, this is calculated by taking the current forecast and dividing by 365 days. And this is down 17 days from August, but it's up 25 days from last year at this time. Questions? Thank you very much. Now the forecast. This was fun. As you can tell, I had to increase the font here because I've been working on this thing for quite a while. I always put out this reminder to everybody here. And I think I've had 28 forecasts over my lifetime as a treasurer. That's 13 years of treasury work. School districts, they still are the only government agency in the state of Ohio required to create and submit a 5-year forecast. Think about that. There's 688 school districts in the state of Ohio, but there's a lot more other government agencies. But school districts are the only government agency that is required to submit a 5-year forecast. The forecast is created based upon current information and numbers and assumptions. This forecast is only good the day it is created. It is because changes made by outside forces are always have an effect on the forecast. Questions about that? Thank you. That's that part, yes. Thank you. Okay, let's get into the forecast here. Just leave it right there, Ryan. Don't move it up. The Medina City Schools is in a unique position to be able to increase programming and opportunities for the children of the district and create a stable source of funding for schools while asking taxpayers of the district for no additional taxes. There are 3 main sources of revenue which will be affected throughout the forecast. These sources are real property taxes, unrestricted grants and aid which are school funding, and property tax allocation. The real property tax revenues is looking at a loss in the emergency levy in county year 2019. This levy provides $6.6 million to the district. The district is looking to place a substitute emergency levy on the May 2018 ballot to subsidize operations and allow for additional academic programming. Without the passage of the substitute emergency levy, we could absorb the decline in the funding. And if you go through the revenues, you can see there is decline in the revenues itself. School foundation funding has been declared unconstitutional by the courts since 1997. The state has changed the foundation funding system 3 times over the last 8 years. With the latest system in place, the state allocated an increase of $10 per pupil for this current year. Because of the low increase, the legislation has learned that the current funding system is also flawed. It is allowed for districts that were on guarantees. There were roughly 170 of them last year. It's going up to 340 this year. Hence the reason it's a flawed system. As the state has reached its funding maximum based upon the economy, the Medina schools will be seeing less as our valuation per pupil increases at a higher rate than the state's value per pupil. This moves the burden for more funding down to the local level. Property tax allocation funding is coming from the state of Ohio in the forms of homestead, rollback, and tangible personal property tax rates. As has been the case over several years, the state has been reducing this tangible personal property tax loss reimbursement. And at its high, the district was collecting nearly $7.5 million in tangible personal property. And now the state is basically discontinuing that form of reimbursement to the school districts throughout the state. This will be the last year of this type of funding for the district. On the expenditure side, we have assumed the same numbers of personnel throughout the forecast. We have provided increases based on current contracts, and we have increased benefits based on the salaries and current premiums the district pays. The purchase services, supplies, and capital are all increasing at varying degrees based upon historical increases and decreases. Finally, the district has incorporated all aspects of the strategic plan into the expenditures of the forecast. The strategic plan is a 5-year plan that calls for increased programming and academic opportunities for children K-12. It calls for increased forms of communication with the community and calls for resources for lighting and other capital in the district. If you look at line 6.01, Ron, could you turn it to the last page? There you go, 6.01. It's showing an increase in excess of expenditures over revenues. This is Mr. Adams' favorite line. This number is showing the district is not taking in as much as it is expending. One item is directly related to this occurrence, the loss of the current emergency levy in December of 2018. The forecast cannot show the assumption of the levy passage, so therefore this is the forecast that will be presented to the state. And if you can look at line 7.02, the district will be using the corrective balance to offset the excess in other revenues. However, if you look at lines 12.01 and 15.01, you will see how the passage of the substitute emergency levy, a levy with no additional taxes to the current valuation of taxpayers of the district, will help stabilize the city school district. As a wrap-up, the 5-year forecast incorporates the strategic plan of the district, the plan that offers increased academic programming and opportunities. It shows the drop-off of current emergency levy and the effect it will have on our district finances. And finally, it shows the stabilization that can occur with the passage of the substitute emergency levy in May 2018. Questions?
I have a couple.
Thank you.
Surprised? No. I'm interested in line 11.0103. If the levy passes, the annual revenue of 65 ton on the 5-year forecast, right? Is that the amount of money? 65 ton. I noticed from previous drafts of this that we've been getting from time to time that the number originally we had somewhere around 6,800. 6,600 is what the resolution called for and is going to call for. Yeah. 6,500 is that 98% collection. Basically, the forecast formula takes the collection rate, historical collection rate of the district. Okay. So that's talking about 65. At one point, we had it listed at 6,853, 6.853, 6,853.
That's what we were collecting.
That's what we were collecting at that time, and so you were projecting that out to continue to collect.
That's correct.
Okay, so then I assume that's 100%. Okay, so that's a drop a bit. So therefore, the number that I'm looking at is when we would again be in trouble could be a little bit sooner, just because that's 330,000 less per year. Okay. And what we were looking at in the retreating on this.
Over the forecast, if you look at line 2022, we're looking at $24.5 million.
It's close to the same, and there were just a couple other issues that were different. And I know you had said a forecast is only as good just as it is in operations management. When you make a forecast and it changes, I know it's been 2 months since then, but it was interesting to see that the changes were a little bit more drastic than I thought. Like that one makes a big impact, I think, because that's on the positive side. And then some of the other numbers had changed, coming down a little bit on the expenditure side. You must have changed some assumptions on that too.
That was based, yes, that was based, because we were basing it. The prior forecast that you were looking at was based on the appropriations at the time.
Okay.
What we're looking at here is based on the expenditures, historical expenditures.
Okay. So, suffice it to say, in the August one, it looked like we were about 1,000 to the negative in 2008, and this says we're on my favorite line, 1.4 to the good, and then we go under, we start deficit spending in year 2019, either way. To a tune of about 6.8 or 6.9 million, which are
not call it deficit spending, I like to call it that we built up a balance over the past 4 years, and we are now looking at using that balance for the benefit of the students.
That's a great way to say it. It shows up great on my mind. Anyway, very good. It's a very good, it's a well-thought forecast. It looks like it met all the needs of for the state, as well as it gives us some good scope into why we need the levy and when we need the levy. So thank you for presenting.
Any other questions? Thank you, Robert.
Thank you, Dave. And following this, we have some action items, 3 from the treasurer. Some board communications I slipped over that. As far as our committees, do we have some reports? I know from the facilities committee, we've been kind of quiet. Our leader has been off for surgery, so that meeting is yet to be held. Are there other committee updates?
I wanted to thank the foundation for the district bookstore that occurred last Thursday. Thank you. To my class, we haven't done. I had an opportunity to attend as a board member, and wanted to thank Amy as well for coordinating that, and the representatives from the business community. We did have attend, I believe about 10 people from the business community from different industries. They were very excited about things that are going on in the district. We had an opportunity to tour the district office, the high school, and the PAC. Some of the athletic facilities. I got to see the weight room, and I've never done it before. It's very, very great and very impressive. We got to go out to wait and check out the 3D printer, and Mrs. Grace gave us a great tour. We had some very knowledgeable young men explain some project that they were doing as well. We were at Garfield Elementary School with Mrs. McGinty, and we were able to see their PDRS in action, as well as their media center. And Root, we got Slide from Root. Thank you, Mr. Farson. And that's the PLTW class in action. They were building some rockets. I'm really hoping that tomorrow can go to see one of those actually, or kind of when actually get shot off. I think that'll be pretty exciting. And wow. A lot that we were able to see during a short period of time. The business community members over there were very engaged. Wanted to help out with whatever way they can, make some good connections, and I'm looking forward to the next time. So thank you to everyone that was involved.
I was just going to say a shout out to the debate team down in the Clemens that they did recently down at Georgetown University, and they swept Medina's 10 representatives swept the division, finishing for the congressional debate. In the first through 10th place, earning an invitation to the Harvard University tournament next month. So it's greatly done to represent us here in Washington, D.C. So thank you. I'm not an authority on running community chats or meetings. I got to enjoy a large meet that was held by Medina Cross Country and got to get educated just a little bit on how those operate, and the camaraderie among the owners was real noble, and the event was exceptionally managed and run. I learned a lot, and I probably won't be out there running beside them. Each young men and women, they did a fantastic job. There's so much in the district. One of the things most recently I saw too was the band recent competition did a phenomenal job. I mean, cleaned house. So kudos to that organization's huge, between nearly 300 kids and parents and staff. It doesn't take long to look around in the district and see a lot of fantastic things going on. So I encourage those who are of the mindset to look in and see, because there's a lot of good things happening. Thank you.
My comment was about several things going on in the district, including homecoming night. Everybody was out. All the principals and teachers and kids were out on floats, and it looked like a fun time. I think we thought it might rain, and then it didn't, which was nice. And great event overall. Lots of people in the school are enjoying all things related to B&B, which was fantastic. And the other thing that you mentioned was the running. We're hosting the district cross-country meet this Saturday at that same place at Canyon, at Most Elementary over there. And anybody's welcome to come to that. And I think there was a room over the weekend. I saw a whole bunch of people who were all flavored up with different colors. Is that right, Mr. Condit? And it looked like it was a fun event, lots of people involved. So a great job, all the stuff happening in the district.
Thank you. Dave, would you like to present your action items?
Yes, please, the board is recommending the Board of Education approve the September 2017 Treasurer's Report. Supplemental to the 2017-18 program appropriations. These appropriations are just modifications as after the board passed the permanent appropriations, we had a number of secretaries giving additional information that they needed to have over the year. We also had an increase from the state for Title 4A, which is a new fund this year. It's up to $13,000 total amount. And then approval of the 5-year forecast. It is recommended the Board of Education approve the October 17 5-year forecast and notes to comply with the City of Howard Department.
Do we have a motion? I move we approve these action items.
Yes, have it.
Thank you. Are there any more conversation on the board? Do we have any conversation among the public? Very well.
Mr. Stewart.
Aye.
Mr. Taylor. Aye. Mr. Ross. Aye. Ms. Parkhurst.
Aye.
Mr. Easter.
Aye.
Thank you.
Moving forward, we have 4 items for action items from the superintendent. The first action item for this evening is donations. It is recommended that the Board of Education accept the following donations to Medina City Schools. A few of these I want to specifically point out. I get questions all the time in regards to financial support being there for students that need to be able to attend extracurricular type activities, as well as to cover K-2 participant fees. And you can see we have several donations tonight that's going to allow some of our middle school students to attend the Washington, D.C. trip, as well as some of our elementary students to be able to attend the Camp Christopher trip. Something really special about our community that we have not had a difficult time finding people to step up, whether it's been a community member, a business, or a staff member, to help make sure that all of our students get the same kind of experience, no matter how much money their family makes. Action item number 2 is employment of legal counsel. It is recommended that the Board of Education employ the following attorney as legal counsel to the board on an as-needed basis. And that is Christopher M. Ernst, attorney at law. If approved, he will be added to our list of already approved attorneys and offers us another resource in neighboring district matters. Item number 3 is a service agreement. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the following service agreement for the 2017-2018 school year. And this is with the Geauga County Educational Service Center for educational services and behavior support for a specific Medina City School student with special needs. I do want to point out it is the Geauga County Educational Service Center as opposed to the Medina. That's because the service isn't offered here from Medina. So what we then do is partner with other educational service centers in other counties that can provide us with the best costs for the best services for our students. And item number 4 is personnel. It is recommended to the Board of Education the following personnel pending completion of background checks as well as personnel file as listed. The first is the co-curriculars. This is recommendations of most of our winter sports. Believe it or not, the winter sports season is just now. As well as a long list of volunteers. I think we've done a really nice job making sure that our volunteers are appropriately approved per board policy. And I know there was some concern this summer with how we were going to move forward with that process and get volunteers recommended to you in a timely manner. I think our communications department, as well as our human resources department, have really done an outstanding job. And you see how many people are dedicated to our district as well, because there's been quite a long list of volunteers, I think, every month since the summer. Can I get a motion to approve the items listed under G, for items listed under G? I would like to make that motion. Second that. Is there any further discussion among the board? I just commented on the donations, very humble, generosity in the community. You see that every month in there, and it's an amazing thing to see people reaching out and helping other people. So thank you for everybody. Amen. We're going. Are there any thoughts or comments from the public? Hearing none. Mr. Skinner? Aye. Mr. Rose? Aye. Mr. Cahill? Aye. Ms. Parkhurst? Aye. Mr. Easton? Aye. Thank you. Next action item is another personnel item for a volunteer. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve Rebecca Parkhurst as a volunteer for the Medina City Schools. I'll make the motion immediately. I'll second that. Any communication among the board? Thanks for volunteering. Mr. Cahill? Aye. Mr. Easton? Aye. Mr. Roth? Aye. Mr. Skinner? Aye. Ms. Parkhurst?
Abstain.
Thank you. In addition to that, we also have a recommendation for field trips. It's recommended that the Board of Education approve the following overnight field trips in compliance with policy 2340 for the 2017-18 school year. And this is for the Encore Entertainment Company show choir competitions, which is led by Mr. Skidmore as well. They have 4 dates here, ranging from January through March, for 2 out of state, one to West Virginia, the other to Indiana, and 2 in-state overnight trips to Beaver Creek and Fairfield. These are annual trips for the Encore group. Can I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve these action items.
I'll second it. Is there any conversation?
good opportunity for young people for sure. So do great. Anything with the community? Ms. Parkhurst. Mr. Kelly. Aye. Mr. Ruff. Aye. Mr. Skidmore. Abstain. Mr. East. Aye. Thank you.
Action item J is resolution of necessity for the substitution of an emergency tax levy. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the resolution of necessity for the substitution of an emergency tax levy outside of the time limitation. And I do want to note that, and this was discussed at our last work session, in order for a school district to place a levy on the ballot, it must be approved by the Board of Education twice. This is the first resolution. This resolution essentially says that there is a need for, in our case, continued funds. We are not looking for additional, but continued funds as a substitute levy for the emergency tax levy. I would anticipate that we would have a second recommendation to actually place it on the ballot, which would include ballot language at a later regular board meeting.
Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution of necessity for the substitution of emergency tax levy.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Thank you. Is there any additional conversation? Yeah. Just as a reminder, this is more of a formality than anything else, just to make sure we get it on the ballot in May. And no taxes will be changed. Everybody's taxes will be the same from 2018, which will be the last year of the original one, to January 2019. So really it would be a vote in May to continue that taxation in January of 2019, correct?
That is correct. And actually what the community is going to see next school year is a slight drop in their taxes to the school. That's because of an increase in property values. Because with the emergency levy, we are only allowed to receive the $6.6 million that we originally collected, and the millage is going to drop in order to match that. That slight drop in taxes will then continue with the new emergency levy. So there will be no increase. We'll continue to collect the same amount of money. I also would like to point out that with the 5-year forecast, which Mr. Chambers went over tonight, that we're not currently asking for additional money because we don't yet need it. And there is going to be a time within the next 4 to 5 years where we are going to need some additional funds. Purposely made the recommendation at this time not to ask for those additional funds from the community yet. And the reason why is because we don't want to ask for them until we absolutely need them. Of course, it would be great to have extra dollars, but we want to continue to show our community that we are being fiscally responsible, so that when it is time to ask for additional funds for programming with our students, they will know that there is a true need for those funds. The other nice piece to that is that timeline aligns with our strategic plan. So we will be reaching back out to our community to redo our strategic plan in the next 4 to 5 years. So we'll know what kind of additional funding for potential programming we may not need. So timing-wise, it's ideal as well. I also want to let the press know that we do have a press release for you today that Amy Busby will be providing for you with all the details.
Anything else you want to bring? Any comments from the public regarding that? Thank you. Dave. Ms. Parkhurst. Mr. Rose. Mr. Panera. Hi.
Mr. Stigma. Aye. Mr. Houston.
Aye.
Thank you.
This is a time of the meeting for public content. If there's anyone who would like to address the board, you're welcome to come down. There's a list of protocol. Is there anyone who would like to make any comments? Very well. I do not believe we have a reason for executive session tonight. Is there anybody? With that being said, we have a motion. I move we adjourn. Thank you.
Mr. Stigma.
Aye.
Ms. Parkhurst. Mr. Kelly. Aye. Mr. Ross. Aye. Mr. Houston.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you all for coming out tonight.